everybody, and welcome to another episode of Death By, where contestants will earn reps for their arguments for a chance to stand on top of the podium pedestal. I am your host, Lauren Kalil. Whoever I decide has the best argument through the final round will earn 30 seconds to talk about any topic of their choosing. On today's episode, we want to thank our sponsors, Thirdzy. I've recently started using their PM Recovery Collagen every single night, especially now that I'm doing the 5:30 a.m. CrossFit class. This stuff helps me get to sleep, stay asleep, and then wake up feeling refreshed and ready to hit another workout. In the past, I've stayed away from sleep supplements because they've had melatonin. The great thing is this doesn't have that. It's natural. It's going to have some of those other products that I was already taking, like collagen and also magnesium. So this, you get them all in one shot. If you want to improve your sleep and help your recovery, you can go ahead and use code DEATHBY. We have a link in our description, but it is thirdzy.com, thirdzy.com. That's going to save you 20% on all of their products. Now, on today's episode of Death By, we have a cast of two-time affiliate champion and seminar staff head trainer James Hobart, CrossFit Games reporter Nikki Brazier with Kettlebells and Cocktails, and CrossFit Games athlete Stacy Tovar. Welcome to the show. First timer, we're going to have a good time. Let's play Death By. Topic number one. Question that I think we circle back to every now and then. Has CrossFit reached its peak? Now, there's a lot of ways that we can peel apart this conversation. Some might look back at the 2018 CrossFit Open, where participation, it reached more than 416,000 participants, a PR thus far. But I think there's more to the conversation. We can include topics like, what about the growth of as a sport? What about the growth as an affiliate? Growth maybe in just awareness. So what do you guys think? Has it reached its peak? Why or why not? James, we will start with you.
Oh, man. Oh, there's so much to talk about here. Okay, so first thing, this is coming off of that email that I think Mayhem sent out and then followed up in a Morning Chalk-Up article maybe about his CrossFit Over. And they were just basing this off of the drop of a Google Trends search when you search CrossFit. And I think it's important to know that Google Trends, I think, just relates a topic proportionally to all of the searches on Google. So a drop there doesn't necessarily mean a specific industry or business or thing is declining or reached its peak. Now, I think proportionally what we've seen is like web traffic in terms of like going to CrossFit.com, visiting CrossFit web properties, has increasingly become more and more international, which I think is a really good sign. And we're still seeing steady affiliate growth, again, mostly internationally, more so than domestically. Now, CrossFit might be past its peak growth era, but I don't think it's at its peak by any means. And I think seeing things like getting back on ESPN, growth of larger sponsors, not just endemic sponsors in the sport, will help. And then I have one more thing. I know I'm over. I think the better question here is, do we want CrossFit to be at its peak? I think that's the right question to ask. But anyway.
And what would your response be to that?
Absolutely not. We've got so much more work to do and fitness to share everywhere. And I think that's the right way to look at it.
3 points for James. Nikki, what are your thoughts here?
It's interesting, Lauren. I'm glad that you gave a little bit of context at the beginning of this question because I was having trouble digesting it on my own. Like, has CrossFit reached its peak? What does that even mean? It sounds kind of like fodder for the internet haters to just go off on a rant and light the world ablaze. But I think in general, I agree with James that no, and maybe call me the forever optimist, but no, I think in so many different aspects of CrossFit as a business, CrossFit as a sport, CrossFit as just a growing fitness trend, there is still a lot of work to be done and there are still a lot of changes being made. I do think that if you look at some indicators of the general populace being more interested or aware of CrossFit, the indications of growth are still there. Being back on ESPN, having more replays of our live shows. I got texts last weekend when the ESPN shows were back up and running from people who didn't watch it the first time that were like, I saw you on TV. That's weird. I mean, you see Nike for the very first time getting into the equipment game, maybe taking on Rogue Fitness. Like Nike's not going to be coming into something that, that they see a downward growth pattern on. But then I do think that there are questions that need to be reached in terms of, or asked rather, in terms of what's going on with CrossFit internally as a business that need to become more transparent so that people on the outside looking in have some more confidence into where the company is going. And that is really what, investors need. That's what other outside organizations need in order to partner with CrossFit to continue the growth. And that's what affiliate owners need to feel confident about the name that they're putting on their business every day. That is where I have the most questions. But in general, no. Lots more CrossFit all the time for years to come. I'm here for it.
Do you think with the changes that CrossFit has made thus far for next year's season with the separate games for the age groups and adaptives, do you think that that's part of the conversation?
Yeah, I think that could be several paths, at least 3 new pathways for growth. But again, like the world seems to be really divided on that topic. And where I think that there is a lot of opportunity for eyeballs, for dollars, for awareness, for everything. There is also the chance that, we stumble and fall in those events that don't end up getting as much as they should. So I'm keeping all my fingers and toes crossed that it is the right pathway for growth in every aspect of our competitive sport. But I do understand where people are coming from, where they were questioning how successful that may be. I get it.
4 points for Nikki. Stacy, welcome to the show. What is your take on
Hey,
number
thanks.
1?
Okay, I agree with James, and I loved what Nikki has to say too. And I have some notes on this, so I'm going to go back and forth from my notes to you. But I think I'm with Nikki. First of all, are we talking about CrossFit or are we talking about the CrossFit Games? Because I think that seems to be the bigger issue at hand. People, and I'm talking about the general public, being able to differentiate between the two at the ground level, because there is some confusion there. And part of that problem is that I think CrossFit and CrossFit affiliates really, they don't get to spend so much time each year promoting what we really truly have to offer, because we're so, and obsessed isn't the right word, but it's a word I'm going to use right now, over helping the CrossFit Games find the 1% of the population, when I think truly we should be focused on finding the 99% of the world and the population, and they would have more of an interest in what we have to offer as a fitness program, rather than just all in at the CrossFit Games level. And I think too, we can't forget what Greg, initially started. This was an extremely effective fitness methodology. And I think the sport, I guess it wasn't intended to be a sport, but I think that's where we're at today. And I think that's what makes it confusing. And again, at the affiliate level, like, we feel every move that the sport makes, every decision that the sport makes, and every decision that CrossFit makes, we feel that. And so that's where I'm at. It's hard to say which one is which, because I don't know where to focus on, because it's like they are 2 in 1, but they're definitely 2. So I would say CrossFit has not reached its peak, but I hope they can keep it going in the right direction and keep sailing the ship forward.
Do you think, Stacy, that it would lead to more growth if CrossFit just divided the sport and the methodology and wasn't all under one umbrella?
I do. I think the CrossFit Games shouldn't be named the CrossFit Games, personally. I think it should be like the fittest on earth. Or if they're going to change it to, the Wheel Wad Championships powered by CrossFit, I think more people, honestly, people don't walk into my gym. It's hard for me to get them to even understand what the Open is. And I hate to turn this a different direction, but
no, I love where this is going.
They don't understand it. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is. But yet, as an affiliate owner, I have to spend 6 months, and now even almost 12 months, depending on when the Masters Championship is, going through all these qualifying processes. Instead of why can't we just focus on bringing people in the door and making people fit and healthy and strong and happy?
Wow,
rather
I
than
fully
trying
disagree with this. Wow.
Rather than, and I'm a games athlete, I hate to even talk about it, but a part of me, my heart and soul lands in the, I'm an affiliate owner too, so I don't know. That's where I struggle. That's where I personally struggle.
I'm going to give Stacy 6 points because I
me all
love a good hot take on Death by. But I want to continue this conversation. I know James is sitting way back and he is just stirring. Let's go to Nikki and then we'll go back to James on Stacy's ideas here.
Man, it's hard for me to, like, I'm not on the same level as Stacy because I'm not a games athlete and I don't own an affiliate. So you got to take this with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah. I have heard the success stories of people seeing us for the very first time via the CrossFit Games channels, one way or another, be that live broadcast or recaps or content that we put out online, and having that as a gateway to the sport. And so I think it is imperative to the brand that we keep both somehow underneath the same house or whatever you want to call it. I don't think that it can be understated the importance of storytelling at the elite level to get people interested, aware, like anything in the world of CrossFit. It feels so big to us, but it's such a microcosm of sport. And I don't think that anyone says like, well, the World Cup shouldn't be the same kind of vibe or the same umbrella or the same sport or the same training methodology as like Pee-wee soccer. Like it all needs to be connected within the entire sport to make it the community, to make it, a worldwide kind of phenomenon. But to Stacy's point, if resources or internal things need to be separated more so that the affiliates can function separate from the competitive side of the sport, that is something that I would understand an argument for. But just in general, like, should we silo these two things and not make them named the same thing or make them come from the same place? I don't think we should do that. I think that would hinder the growth of the sport for sure.
Okay, James, what have you been thinking
I'm
about?
I'm just blown away that Stacy earned. I won't say you gave. Stacy earned 6 points. I don't think I've ever seen a 6-point swing on this show.
Nothing to do with whether I agree or disagree. I like the fire.
Great argument.
Like the ideas. Good argument.
Yeah, it has nothing to do if it's valid. You're just giving points out willy-nilly. No.
4 points to Gryffindor.
I actually, that's funny. I think there's a lot to search here, to Stacy's point about should these two be separate. I fall in Nikki's camp. I don't think they should be separated. In my, voice of one, I think I've seen a lot of people who end up learning about CrossFit because of its visibility on ESPN via the games. And I also think a better step first, and this is just my opinion, is to take a turn and put more light on what's going on in affiliates, how to get into an affiliate. What is it even like to experience doing CrossFit inside of affiliates? So I think first we should take that step to direct more attention back toward affiliates and how do we actually get people to do CrossFit? How do I as a person start doing CrossFit? And then if we're still not getting traction, then maybe we look at how do we sort of separate the two. The other thing is, and people will call me corporate, which is okay, I can take it, is what would a future look like if the games, for example, got sponsored by like a Chase card or a MasterCard, and we have an affiliate specific MasterCard out there. Like I just see these opportunities by partnering with larger brands that can only happen through the games, that really might trickle down and really positively affect the rest of the community. I know people are gonna be like, all Hobart cares about is money. That's fine. Deep down, who doesn't?
Yeah, right. That's what
But
I say about you all the time, James.
Yeah,
right.
I think it would be beneficial on a larger scale. So disagree with Stacy a little bit, but very curious to learn more about it.
Stacy, being so intertwined within the affiliate, do you have any idea of like what percentage of your members come in through just seeing your affiliate around town or a Google search versus, hey, I saw CrossFit on YouTube or ESPN?
1 out of every 20. I would say probably less than 5% of my community even knows that I was at the CrossFit Games 8 times. Some don't even know that I participated this summer. You guys, I know it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about.
I asked that question,
Stacy, and say, "Don't you know who I am?" Because you should. With your pedigree, you absolutely should. You should charge more for your members. Just be in your athletic presence.
But Stacy makes a good point. I'm a coach at my affiliate, and I can tell you that maybe 3% know who anybody on this video is right now and what we do within the sport.
Right. I agree with that.
Even if I ask them who Tia Claire Toomey is, I mean, there are a big handful of people at the gym that don't know who she is. And
I
we
agree
look at
with
that and
that.
like, what? How?
I agree with that, but I will also say that the entire gym gets together to watch. Like, we do the projector, we do the thing for open announcements, for games. And I mean, like 5:30 a.m. people meeting the 4:15 p.m. people. Like, it's a massive opportunity for the entire gym to get together. And whether or not they give a shit who Tia Kuaratumi is, everyone is suddenly interested in watching the thing they do every day. They're interested in watching these people do it on a new level. And they may never know their names. They might not even know that I was there, but they're interested because it's what they do.
Yeah. And so then I think the question becomes, well, maybe the games isn't the biggest driver to pushing people into an affiliate. It probably helps here and there. The real question is, does the game push people out of an affiliate or push people away from CrossFit, which I still don't think we have great visibility on, probably never will have great visibility on. But I've heard this argument pop up a handful of times of, the games keep so many people out of affiliates and scares them away that, it should be completely separate. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't think it should be completely separate. And I hate to cut you off, James, but I do think it has something to say with affiliate owners and maybe the way that they program. So like, CrossFit teaches at the level 1, program for the best and scale for the rest. I have gone away from that. I mean, we have less than 1% of the world trying to get to the CrossFit Games. I have an affiliate of 300 and I've probably got even less than that. And I need a program for just, hey guys, we're here to move, have a great workout, sweat, and keep getting stronger each and every day and come back for more and more. And let my, the competitors are still going to do their extra workouts and their hard work pays off and they're proven, and maybe the .com workout of the day and all the other things. But that's not who I'm focused on. I'm focused on keeping my members safe, healthy, happy. And you know me, I'm a nutrition girl. So it's like, I'm all for the transformations. I want them to come back to me 2 years from now and be like, I have not fit in these shorts for like 8 years. I'm embarrassed to say I even have them, but look how these feel. And I think I no doubt that the marketing at the CrossFit Games brings people into the affiliates. I'm sure that they do, but you could, with technology these days, like, hey, every affiliate out there, a member and I were just talking about this. So this is off the top of my head, in my head, but like, hey, just have every affiliate has at least 5 to 10 transformations. At least they should. Just have them shoot a selfie on their phone and then play the hundreds of thousands that we could get over and over and over while the CrossFit Games are going on to get people who aren't necessarily into the sport, but wow, that happened to that person. Like, that's amazing. I want to do that, like, into a CrossFit affiliate. Like, there's so much more that we can be doing within the affiliate instead of just rewinding the competitors chalking up and throwing 500 million pounds of weight up over their head over and over in a commercial, like that's only going to capture a tiny little bit.
I've said this before. I'm like, in the decade plus I've worked with CrossFit Media, my favorite assignment ever was the 2020 games. I like to call the weird games. We were at the ranch for like 3 days and I got to host the pre-show, which was all community stories. And it was like Zoom interviews, because that's all we did back then. It was like Zoom interviews with people and packages about their health and fitness and overcoming adversity stories and their weight loss stories, and then talking to them after we got to see their stories. And that was, out of everything that I've done, that was my favorite assignment because it was so much meat. There was so much there. It was so wonderful and emotional, and I feel like we connected with so many different parts of the community, and that always led into sort of like the competitive replays. And I thought that was one of the coolest things that we'd ever done. I would do that again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I think that's where we all agree though, right? Is like, there's still a lot more work to be done there, with those community stories, like what you're talking about with transformations. And I think because CrossFit definitely has done that in the past, but I think not at a huge global level. And that's another reason I think we're not, at our peak, whatever that means. And we have a huge opportunity to do that and hopefully help more people understand, like, hey, I can do CrossFit, like regardless of where I am or goals. But I'm excited.
Well, we could talk about this topic for the next 3 hours.
We should.
You can give me negative points. I'm the one that started all of that.
No, this is why I love this show, because we have the topics, but you never really know where it's going to take us. So I'm glad it took us down this rabbit hole of so many that we could go down. We're now going to get into, speaking of the sports side of things, topic number 2 with the Rogue Invitational. It's just over a week away. Now, there are going to be so many exciting storylines to follow, both on the men and women's fields. Just take a look at the leaderboards thus far, or the rosters rather. It will be the first time that we see Ricky Garard back on the competition floor, at least the CrossFit competition floor, since his injury. And then the first time we'll see Tia-Clair Toomey back on the competition floor since giving birth. So who has the better odds of winning it all? Ricky Garard on the men's side or Laura Horvath on the women's side? We're going to let Nikki start.
Roman Krenikov.
No, that wasn't
I'm kidding.
Topic 3.
Sorry. I don't know. You're talking about people who like had a thing last season and are going to be there, and who do I think is going to win? No, this is a tough question. There are just too many factors to think about to really be able to give some sort of definitive answer. But if I had to,
why it's fun, Nikki.
I know, and I'm gonna get hate on this, but I have to get points, and I'm out for blood.
I love it.
Ricky Garard. If I had to pick one of those two to win, because I don't think that Tia-Clair Toomey would come back to the competition floor unless she thought she could win. And a Tia who thinks she can win, a Tia who knows she can win, should be terrifying for every athlete out there. Plus, and Stacy can attest to this, mom strength is real. When you have lived through pregnancy and birth, girl, you can do anything. And that certainly means slaying a competition as familiar as the Rogue Invitational.
Okay, I liked your defense against why Laura will not win and Tia will win, but give me some meat on why you're so confident about Ricky.
I mean, truly, have you heard Justin Kotler talk about Ricky? It's like the proudest father I've ever heard. And just every single word out of his mouth in terms of his training, his recovery, his everything since his injury has been so incredibly confident that I wouldn't put it past him to come out here and smash it, especially given the fact that I think Justin said that 6-8 weeks, whatever, after his injury was healing, he was being smart, but he was already able to do things that the doctor said would take him much longer to be able to gain in terms of range of mobility and strength and stuff like that. So I know that they were playing it smart, but I know he's hungry. And that also is dangerous for the other competitors when Ricky Garard is hungry. If he's got something to prove, we've already seen this. If he's got something to prove, he'll come out and prove it.
Love it. Nikki, 4 points. Stacy, what do you think about this one?
I agree with my girl, Nikki. Well, I think that not only does mom strength, it's a thing, but you're just that much more excited after postpartum. At least I was, to finally it was like starting CrossFit all over again, really. You just had a baby, you had to wait 6 weeks till the doctor said you had the clear, and then you get back into things, and it's like you PR'd every day. What you once couldn't do, even sit out of bed, you can finally do. So Tia has an excitement about her. I think she's ready. I think, to Nikki's point, she wouldn't have accepted the invitation if she wasn't truly ready. So that's going to be fun to watch between her and Laura. But I do think Ricky has had a really good off season despite the injury. He didn't participate in the CrossFit Games this year, so he's definitely fresh, a lot more fresh, maybe between the ears and physically, than the other Games athletes as well.
3 points for Stacy. James, are you going to be on the other side of the equation here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely am. I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Hey, proud dad Justin Kotler vibes aside, my dad was always really proud of me, and I turned out terribly. So there's that. Well, I think from the outside, right, they both have equal chances because they're 1 out of 20 competitors. But I think Laura, one, having no recent or prior injuries, I think she gets a big leg up there. She won last year. She's coming off a Games win. I think Ricky finished 10th last time at the Invitational. For me, I just feel like his competition is going to be a lot tighter with Adler, Krenikov, Vellner, everyone else who's there. The other thing, I think Laura had a top 5 finish at the Rogue Invitational. And I've said this here before, and I'll say it again. I am such a big fan of Laura, and I think this season is 1,000 times better if she beats Tia here. I think everything for the CrossFit Games is better this year. So I'm gonna put that out there in the universe, I think with the wave of momentum she's had, that's what's going to happen. So I'm saying Laura more so than Ricky, 100%.
James, remember when you said you didn't know what a 6-point answer was?
Oh, snap.
Are you going to be like,
yours was a
still don't
5
know?
point?
I'll take it.
We should have
five.
seen
So
it coming. Seen it coming.
I'll take 5.
It's a close game though. James 8 points, Nikki 8 points, Stacy, brand new on the show, 9 points, leading the way.
Dang.
I know. It was that first topic. It was that
Thanks,
first topic.
Lauren.
We went down so many great rabbit holes that I love. Now, speaking of the Rogue Invitational, what do you guys think will be the biggest upset on either the men or women's field? Stacy, we'll let you kick this round off.
I hate to say it because I kind of agree with James, but Tia just scares me. I don't know what it is. I think Laura had such an amazing performance at the games. I hope she's recovered. She looks strong on social media, but again, there's something about that excitement, getting back on the competition floor after being gone for so long and something to prove maybe. Tia's got that fire underneath her. I think it's going to be Tia over Laura.
3 points for Stacy.
I'm sorry.
James, biggest upset.
Oh man, I didn't have a good answer for this one, but I'm looking at the roster here, and I think what would be really, I have like a serious answer. I think it's Emma Lawson on the women's side. I think you're going to see Vellner win on the men's side, and the reason on the men's side is just because you're going to see Roman and Adler become too focused on each other. I think Ricky, even as healthy as he is coming off an injury, just isn't quite going to be there yet because I think he's thinking about the longer term play at the game. So he's not going to take risks here. Vellner is a wild man. You know, he'll throw haymakers blindfolded, you know, even if he's standing on like a balance beam over the Grand Canyon, you know, he'll do anything to win. So I think you see Vellner upset on the men's side. Emma Lawson, just because I think her time is coming with wins at more events. She's so fit and still really young. So.
James, you got yourself 5 points.
Dang.
Again.
That was good, James. That was good.
That was good. Nikki, biggest upset.
Okay, mine isn't a win upset, but it's a podium upset. Like I think it would be a real bummer if Chandler Smith didn't make it onto the podium this year. But I think that there's a chance that he won't. All things considering, there's a lot going for him, and he came in second at Rogue last year. He beat all the top guys last year at Rogue. You know, he beat Adler, he beat Krennikov, Garard, Vellner, and he crushed at games, top 10 at games. I think he was 7th at the games this year. So he has all of that going for him. But then when you look at everyone else's performances this past season and all the people that we're talking about maybe coming out on top, we're talking about Garard and Vellner, and I threw Krennikov into the mix, like he's not in that top 3. And I do feel like he's a crowd favorite and a fan favorite, especially at Rogue. It would be a bummer if he didn't have that opportunity to shine at this point in the season, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to.
I never even considered that, but that makes a great point.
Thank you.
5 points for Nikki.
Yes.
Which means if my math, I think we got to get Sean Woodland in here to make a tiebreaker for us. Or should we give Stacy the power? I think we gave the contestant power last time.
Yeah, you got to give that. You got to give Stacy the power on that one.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
No part
This
of this.
paper rock scissors.
I could actually make this easy because I didn't have anything in mind for the 30 seconds. So I was going to pass it to Stacy.
He had
because
no
she
faith
knew.
in himself.
Okay.
I came in today and I was like, I'm definitely going to lose.
Wow. That's what I thought. You know,
Yeah,
it's
well.
sad. This would be my first ever win, but just like a really sad way of winning.
Well, hey, you got to take the wins,
Nikki,
wherever they
you
come.
won
They come.
nonetheless.
Dang, okay.
Go girl.
Okay.
30 seconds, podium pedestal, any topic of your choosing.
Okay. This has been my topic for a long time, and I sort of gave it to Tim Paulson the last time that he won to rant about, but I'm going to take it back and talk about it again. I just think, in my personal opinion, Masters athletes are the best CrossFit athletes in the sport. 100%. relative to life. Because when you think about the things that masters athletes are sort of like contending with as they also test their fitness, most of them have jobs, most of them have families, most of them if the women have given birth multiple times, and we talk about coming back from one time postpartum, think about the people with bigger families and careers and just no time. And you can get really good at anything if you can dedicate full-time jobs worth of time to it, 8-9 hours a day in the gym. But just the people who are consistently showing up and becoming the fittest on earth in these age brackets that really mean that they have to deal with a lot that life throws at them, I think is super impressive. And we should consider them some of the best, fittest athletes on earth. 100%.
That was a great podium pedestal, Nikki.
Thank you.
I'm glad you saved that one for this moment right now.
Oh, and I should say, like, after 28, everything gets creaky. So there's that too. All your joints, all your bones, everything hurts. I didn't even say that, but it's true.
Nikki, congratulations. Stacy, thanks for joining us. Next time, we're just going to throw the rundown out and we're just going to talk and ask you guys what you want to talk about, because
great idea.
Seriously, great conversations. So
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
I'm glad you came. James, thanks for coming back as always. Everybody here watching us today, thank you for joining. Again, you can head to thirdsy.com, use code DEATHBY, get yourself 20% off, and we will see you next time.